Good morning. I hope you're well. My name is Jerome and I am the Sane Realist. And yes, it's chilly. Here in coastal Oregon, I'd say it's about 37, 38 out, sunny, clear, so that's why it's colder. When there's more clouds, it stays up in the 40s more. When there are clouds, it stays warmer. When it's clear is when it gets really cold. The same in Colorado. Some of the coldest nights I ever saw in Vermont were nights when the clouds were gone and you just had stars, and man, it got cold. 40 below zero. Cold. Yeah. We could stand with a little less of that, I think. Imagine how much less energy humanity would have to consume if we didn't have to heat our spaces. Just a thought. So yeah, humanity as a group, as a function on this planet is significant. And very diverse, very diverse. There's a lot of different belief sets and belief systems associated with being human. And humans have a tendency to think very independently of one another, really. We have that tendency. We can be tricked, okay? And that's where your isms come in, okay? That's where they remove your humanity. And by humanity, I mean your connection to every other human. And they replace that with an identity. Okay. You now you can't say I'm just human. You say, no, I'm a white male. I am a black woman. I am, you categorize yourself. You have a set of beliefs that you adhere to, or I do. And and by they I mean those who would manipulate and subvert the dark powers that I was talking about yesterday, that are dominant within right now, that the war cannot be won. Can't be won. We can't fight this war, unfortunately. We must remain faithful to ourselves and nevertheless withdraw into seclusion. That's what the I Ching basically is saying. At this point, when it gets to this point, sometimes things are just overwhelmingly jacked up, and they're going to have to go through the cycle of being jacked up and then come back out of it again. And you just have to wait. Hopefully you got a good, like I said yesterday, good pile of wood. You know, something to burn, something to keep you warm through the winter. Because winter comes and then it goes. Yes, my friends. So all the isms, racism. I woke up today thinking about racism. And I really wanted to, I'm like, well, are there actually different types of humans? Are we that different from one another, or that you have to subdivide us into groups? I'm trying to think, is there, besides perhaps cultural differences, any real fundamental difference between myself and one of my African human brothers or one of my Norwegian human brothers? Middle Eastern, Chinese, does it really matter? Aren't we all one big race? Isn't racism really a manipulation and control tool in the first place that somebody else points out? You don't often hear the racists themselves going, yeah, I'm a racist and you're different than me and this, and I hate you because of it. You don't really see that. You see other people going, look what they said. They said that about that group. Therefore, you can create now two groups. You can create the victim group. You can create the bad racist group or communist. Attach an ism to the end of it. Ism means to manipulate human culture. Communism manipulates human culture. Socialism, Marxism. Go right down the list of all of the isms, you know. Socialism, democratic socialism, which is an even bigger lie than that. Capitalism versus socialism basically is just a way to giantly divide two huge groups of people into two groups, make them not understand each other. And then you have control over both groups. And that's what the immunists are learning. They're learning as time goes on that you can really control human society. You can really manipulate things. You can really, with the right kind of propaganda, create whatever sort of chaos that you desire. It may seem like chaos to the populace, but you know it's not. By saying, see those black people over there, they're being mistreated by somebody. They have been by the system. The system itself is mistreating them. Why? Because they're black. Because they're black people. Just because of the color of their skin? I look back and I think, have I treated a kid differently because of the color of his skin, like through my life and in school and whatnot? And I remember I got in one fight with this kid, and it was ironically right after they started mandating busing, and so they were busing in to my little elementary school, which was right down the street from my house when I was growing up. You know, in 1969. Denver, Colorado. Pretty decently liberal sort of time in Colorado. But they decided to bus a bunch of these poor kids into our richer neighborhoods. And of course they did horribly. They were totally denied access to the whole social network of the local kids. And it was a miserable, terrible existence for them. They were singled out because of the color of their skin, because they were black. And I remember I even got in a fight on the playground with one of these kids, and I remember grabbing onto his jacket, and his jacket just went ripped. The sleeve ripped right off of it. I thought, oh my God, I didn't even pull that hard. Years later now, I realized his mom was so poor she could only afford the real crappy, thin $5.99 jacket that his brother, his big brother, his sister, and his aunt had also worn. It's been washed 50 times. She tries to keep it clean. She wants him to look nice, to try to impress the white kids, but she knows too in her heart, we're different. We should embrace that, you know. But we don't. We create groups. We create groups of victims and groups of predators, I'm going to call it. The nasty group, the communists, okay? Does anybody even know what a communist is? Can you even tell me what it means to be communist? Honestly. Many people would look at communism and go, well, that actually is not a bad idea. Oh, well, what do you know? You've never opened your eyes and looked. And many other people will go, no. It has a potential to X, Y, and Z, and I don't like the outcome of it. Plus, historically, you can look back and see that it's never really worked. The only thing that's ever kind of worked is capitalism. It's still an ism. It's still a division of people to rich and poor instead of so much ethnic or other groups. But, every man gets up and fights for himself and educates himself and takes care of his family and contributes taxes to the community, keep the roads up and all that. That's capitalism. Everybody pays taxes in. Whatever money you make, you give a little to the government. Socialism is you don't own anything. You don't earn money. You get to eat. You get to sleep. You get a roof over your head. You get wood to burn or something to heat yourself with. And you work. There's no time clock. There's no ins and outs and taxes and all of that. None of it. No. You just get up and you work. You do your life. You live your life. You go to church on Sunday and you have your little days off. You can even get a vacation occasionally, I imagine. Go visit another commune somewhere or do something, that's communism. In communism, there is a real, true, actual social safety net, which is saying that every citizen is basically equal. Just because Joe lives up the hill here and actually owns that house, okay, and has the equity of that home, now he's got power over me, because he inherited that house from his grandfather who built it. But still, Joe now has that equity, that power. Joe doesn't give it all away. He gives just as part of it away to the government. But then again, the government is more limited in what they're capable of. So you take away the safety net, you create freedom, but with freedom comes danger. And the biggest danger that we have to our freedom, which starts up here, are the isms, are the tools of corruption and separation that they're trying to use to manipulate humanity into believing we are a whole bunch of different groups instead of one big group. What are we? Are we one big group? Or are we all fought against each other, constantly at war and battling and subdivided, willfully subdivided? Yeah, I'm proud to be a white nationalist or something. Some people might say, yeah, I'm white and I believe that I love our nation, so am I a white nationalist? I don't know. Do I think our nation should be white? No, that would be horribly imbalanced and it wouldn't be natural on any level, right? Racism goes both ways, Now they're getting smart. They're getting smart about sexism and all that with eliminating them, eliminating gender, eliminating sex, eliminating race, homogenizing everyone together. As soon as you are part of the homogenous mix and into the flow, you are now part of the current, my friend. Take that for what it's worth. My name is Jerome. I am the Sane Realist. If you made it that long, remember, don't let them trick your mind. We are one giant, big race, and it's called the human race. With or without isms. Isms are the methods employed by those in control who wish to not lose it. Have a good day.